This video will be a demonstration of Steersman's CPQ for Odoo. Our CPQ is made up of multiple modules: the front end of the website, the configurator with advanced features, a dynamic bill of materials, and pricing engine. Let's start with looking at the front end to see basically the results of this. And we have two variations of this. One is a variation where a customer can buy directly on the website. So this is just an example. There's availability of descriptions in here on top. And then we have the price and all the different attributes with attribute values with tooltips, right? So in this case, we can provide some additional information about what these attributes mean, and then the customers could go ahead and select what they want, right? Some of these might be grayed out, and then if I click them, then you can see that some other things switched around. It's because some of these options are mutually exclusive, and you can see also that some images are going to be changing, right? So if I change this to metal instead of the no ramp, then I have a different image available, right? There's no ramp here. And then if the customer goes ahead and gets exactly what they're looking for in here, they can go ahead and buy this product, right? So they can add it to cart and then check out, right? It's just a product that's going to appear in Odoo in their shopping cart. Another view that we have available for this is a view for quote requests with more information, right? So more technical, more complicated products, right? Similarly, we start with some descriptions of a product, and we have a selection here of all the attributes that the customer has selected. But when we look at the options, they have more information, right? It's similar tooltips on the attributes, right? Same thing as the other one in here. And all of these things are selectable as the other one. But for some of these attribute values, we can provide a whole lot more information, right? So we can provide more text and we can provide images per attribute value as well. So as it is in here, for example. We're now back to the Odoo side of things, right? The background. Let's take a look and see how all of those things, how the prices and the components, how all of them work together. Let's start with PIM. PIM is another module that Steersman provides, by the way. And in here we have some products. Some of them are components of the open cargo trailer, and then obviously the cargo trailer itself, right? Axle, frame bar, and there's some labor cost to go ahead and calculate the pricing. Plywood sheets. There's another sub-assembly trailer frame, wood planks, and wheels, right? So let's take a look at the open cargo trailer first. And in here, we'll take a look at the attributes, right? So for the attributes, we have length, width, and then there are different variations for that available. There is a ramp, none or metal. There is a different floors on the trailer that's available, different colors and different wheels, standard and chrome, right? And then these attributes, they all have specific configurations that allow these attributes to define dynamic bill of materials through rules. I'll show you that next. But let's take a look at some of the other components first. For example, the wheels. If I look at the wheels, then we have trailer wheels, standard and chrome. It's the same exact attribute and same values that are available on the trailer itself. And finally, let's take a look at this trailer frame attributes, trailer length and width. They're the same as the trailer. And then the colors are also the same options available. They need to be matching because this way we're able to pass through these attribute values from one product to another into sub-assemblies through our dynamic bill of material rules. So let's take a look at some of the attribute configuration next. The list of attributes is a regular list that is available in Odoo, but when we click on it, we add some fields to it, right? So variable type, decimal in this case, variable name, there's a code for it, and then variable decimal value, right? In this case, it's decimal value because it is a decimal, right? So, and then I can scroll through these different attributes to see what the other ones will be. So this is another decimal type, right? Because they're just numbers. But then in this one here, we have words. So variable type is a string, non-metal wood. And then if I want to look at additional things, I have a tooltip in here available. That's a tooltip for the attribute. So if I switch back to the front end in here, it's going to be this tooltip here, this one. And then if I click back here and on this little pencil, then the image and the tooltip for the attribute value, they are what shows in these tiles. Cancel. And then these attribute values of variables and the variable names, these things allow us to define rules to specify bills of materials, right? So this way, basically, maybe 100 dynamic bill of material rules could go ahead and define for us several thousand or a couple of 100,000 unique bills of materials. Let's take a look at how that's assigned. That'll be in the manufacturing app, products, dynamic BOMs. And we have two dynamic bills of materials in this database. There is an open cargo trailer and a trailer frame, which is a sub-assembly of this one. I'll take a look at this one first. And this is it. This is a simple one. There's not so many components because it's really a fake product. But this is what we have on this one. So you could see that there are conditions in here. These are rules, and they're made. They are defined with simple Python. In this case, you could see that it's just 11 larger than trailer bed length, which is a variable. And then in here, for example, trailer bed floor is a variable and it's equal to wood. And in this one, it's equal to plywood. And that defines either wood plank or plywood sheet as a component of this product. And then these quantities for these products, they're defined as formulas as well in this case, because this variable and this one, they're decimals. So they're really numbers. So we can calculate the quantities in that way. And in some cases, it becomes, it helps. Instead of making a definitive quantity because, well, there could be way too many different ones. In this case, for example, we have a lot of different potential sizes of these trailers, right? So all of the widths by all of the lengths, there's something like, I think, 10 different variations. So instead of defining 10 variations, we basically just do a formula, and that's what defines how much wood or plywood is needed in this case. And for other components, so see there's another type of icon in here. There's three little boxes instead of one box. This one is a pass-through for the template. So in this case, the product, open cargo trailer, if I click on it here, it has two wheel options, standard and chrome. And then the wheel itself is also available in two variants, standard and chrome. And this basically means that we're passing whatever is the attribute value selected on the finished product, we're going to use the component with the matching attribute value. That's all it is. And then these ones are going to be product variants directly. So there's no options in this. In this one in here, in reality, the labor cost is just an adder we're doing to calculate the price of the product. But the labor cost is a service component, so it will not actually go into a manufacturing order. And this one here is another type of icon. It's because this one is another dynamic bill of material. So we do a pass through from one dynamic bill of material into another. So if I click on this to take a look, you could see that in here we're basically defining some frame bars and some labor as well, right? But in here there are formulas as well. So length times 6, length times 7, based on the width of this trailer. And we're going to just assign some frame bars, right? So it's a welded frame basically, and that gets painted in the end. And if I click on here, I can take a look once again at the attributes, right? So just dimensions and the color. That's all. I'll go back to the product here, discard, and I'll leave this be. The idea here is that the dynamic bill of material generates a real bill of material, and the real bill of material, the regular one, it's a standard Odoo bill of material for a manufacturing order. So we're not really tapping into functionality for manufacturing management. We are generating these bills of materials dynamically as needed, right? And then the idea in here is also that they're generated as needed, and then if there is a change at some point, right? So for some reason, a quantity of some product changes or component changes, then the previously generated bills of materials all get archived, and new ones will be generated as they're needed, right? So all the previous manufacturing orders will stay the old way, all the new ones will be the new way. That's the idea here. So let's go ahead and just sell a product and see what happens to it. We'll go here and just create customer. and we will define this open cargo trailer. A configurator opens up in here, and you can see that we have some of these options grayed out, options not available, and then also if I switch these things around, you can see that this ramp in here changes, right? So if I have it this way, 8, then I do have an option, but if I have 6, then I'm no longer able to choose, right? So we are, some of the advanced features of the configurator that we have is we define specific attribute values based on our attribute values selected, right? So we could basically make it so that a customer or a salesperson is not able to select something at all, right? There is just no option. If it's this in here, then it's going to be that, and there's no other choice, right? But let's go ahead and select something um, something else in here, some kind of more expensive trailer, right? $12,000, save, and I'll save this in here. So the idea in here is that the manufacturing order and this product, uh, we simply have MTO rule on it, right? The standard Odoo MTO rule, make to order, that's what will make a manufacturing order link to this sales order. That's standard functionality, right? So once I click confirm, it will create a delivery and an MO for me, and then I can click on it and see what components will be in here, right? So then I have 8 wheels in here, I have 2 axles, I have a trailer frame and some frame bar, right? So these are my components for this product. And then here I have a bill of materials. So I can click on it and take a look and see what we have here. So this is a standard bill of material that Odoo creates, and that's what drives this manufacturing order. And let's go ahead now and change the quantity of some of these materials just to see what will happen in that case, right? So the old bill of material will be archived, the new one will be created instead. So let's take a look at that. Dynamic bill of materials, cargo trailer. And then instead of having double wheels in here, right? So if there's basically a single axle, there's 4 wheels, I'm going to make it 2 wheels. And then if there is 2 axles, I'm going to make it 4 wheels. So 1 wheel per side, basically, per axle. Save. And that's done. And so I will go back to the sales order here. It's this one. And I will duplicate it. When I duplicate it in here, you can see that this price became orange in here. It's because in reality, this product got cheaper, right? So this no longer matches whatever is being calculated on the fly. So our pricing engine flags it as some kind of a warning. And if I go ahead and update the prices, this will change to be cheaper. 11,515, because there are fewer wheels on this trailer now, right? So I'll confirm it, and let's see what the manufacturing order will have on it. You can see in here that the wheel count is 4. On the other one, it was 8 wheels. And if I click on the bill of material, then the bill of material is a new one. It was just created a minute ago, and we have 4 wheels here and all the rest of the components as they are. So I'll go ahead and go back to the sales order so that we can compare it to the previous one that we've made. Sales order number 15, manufacturing order. There are 8. And then if I go to the bill of material here, it's archived. That's the idea. We changed the way that the bill of material should be made. So the old one is archived now, the new one is active, and that's what happens with any other bill of materials that have been made prior to the change as well. The only thing that we have left to check out is just how the pricing is calculated. For that, we can click on a product and in the product category. In here, we have some settings. That's for our pricing engine. So in this case, the price base is based on the vendor price list, right? The idea is we look at the vendor price line to define what will be used as a cost basis for our sales price in this product, right? The other choices are manual entry, so there could be just a manual field. We fill it in, and that's what's used. And another one is the standard accounting cost of the product, right? So it could be standard FIFO, AFCO, or whatever there is in Odoo that cost field for the product. And then for assembly specifically, instead of using some kind of field from the product itself, we could use bill of material costs, right? So and that's what we're doing in here, the trailer trailers and trailer components, they use bill of material costs. So if we do have an assembly, then we don't need to have a cost on it if we never sold it before. We just need to look down into the bill of materials, and it could go down many levels, 5 levels or more. It's just going to keep digging in as long as the sub-assemblies are still in the category that has a used bill of material cost, then it will keep working, right? Until we get to a point where finally there is no more assembly, it's just all purchased components, and then they do have some kind of vendor prices. And for the calculations, we have a lot of different settings in the pricing engine. I'll just show you the very simple ones at the moment, the margin formulas. So in this case, the margin is pretty simple. For the calculation of a price of these trailers, we're taking the cost of the components and we're applying a 40% margin on it based on this rule in here. But in reality, these could be also sliding formulas, right? So the margin could be bigger or smaller based on the cost. So for example, if it's a $50 item, it could be a higher margin percentage. If it's a $1,000 item, lower percentage. These could be all formulas in here as well. And there are a lot of other configurations in here that are perhaps not critical for the CPQ review at this moment. The price list itself is just a standard price list with some additional fields as well. And in here, we are using the margin with no additional multiplier on it. And the result is that we take all of the components that are part of this assembly, and then we add the prices of them together and add a 40% margin on top of it. And that's how we come up with the product, the price, and production. This is all on the main features of Steersman CPQ for Odoo. If you have any questions, please leave us comments or contact us on our website, and we will be happy to demonstrate it for you or help you set it up.